Good evening. I will call to order the SMUD Board of Directors meeting of January 15th, 2026. Would you please stand and join me in the pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting of the SMUD Board of Directors is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV UVerse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, January 18th at 2 p.m. and Monday, January 19th at 6 p.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Please remember to unmute your microphone when speaking in order that our virtual attendees may hear. The microphone will display a green indicator light when the mic is on. Please put all electronic devices in the silent mode while in the auditorium. For members of the public attending in person who wish to speak at this meeting, please fill out a speaker's request form located on the table outside this room and hand it to SMUD Security. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually who wish to provide verbal comments during the board meeting may do so by using the raise hand feature in Zoom or pressing *9 while dialed into the telephone toll-free number at the time public comment is called. Technical support staff will enable the audio for you when your name is announced during the public comment period. You may also submit written comments by emailing them to publiccomment@smud.org. Written comments will not be read into the record, but will be provided to the board electronically and placed into the record of the meeting if received within 2 hours after the meeting ends. Members may speak to items on the agenda on which the board will take action and may also address the board on other items and items not on the agenda, but within our jurisdiction during the general comment period. The auditorium is equipped with a safety alarm. If the alarm sounds, please leave in an orderly manner via the exits to the lobby or behind the dais. Assemble in front of the building and wait to hear the all-clear announcement from security before entering. Will the Chief Legal Officer please conduct the roll call?
Director Rose. Director Bowie Thompson.
Present.
Director Fishman.
Here.
Director Herber.
Here.
Vice President Kurth.
Here.
Director Sanborn.
Here.
President Tamayo.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, so to provide our 2030 climate action tip, we'll ask Director Fishman.
Thank you. SMUD is working towards a 100% zero carbon by 2030 goal. There's a lot you can do to help us lead the global clean power city movement. One of the best ways to conserve energy in the winter is simply to layer up and set your thermostat to 68 degrees or lower. Programmable thermostats allow you to lower temperatures at night or when you're away to help save energy and reduce heating bills. Join the charge and visit cleanpowercity.org.
Thank you. So, item number 1 is the approval of the agenda. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so that was moved by Director Herber, seconded by Director Fishman. So are we voting on there? Yeah, so please, directors, please vote.
The agenda is approved with Director Rose absent.
All right, thank you. Item number 2 at this time will consider a resolution commending Director Fishman for his work as board president for 2025. So we have here a resolution, first of all, I want to personally thank Director Fishman for his leadership and everything that he's done out in the community, and as our board president to successfully lead our group and represent us to the community. I'll just read a couple of the whereases. So whereas President Fishman helped SMUD strengthen its reputation in 2025 as a leader in environmental stewardship and a customer and community-focused utility. And the last one, and whereas the board has benefited from President Fishman's fair management of the board meetings, as well as his dedicated representation of SMUD's ambitious goal to our partners, the public and media. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, this board commends Greg Fishman for his outstanding service to the board, to SMUD, and to the Sacramento community during his tenure as president, and the board looks forward to serving with him as he continues as the director for Ward 3. So do I need to ask for a motion to adopt this resolution?
Yes, you
Okay,
do.
so, and if there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I will entertain a motion to approve the commendation resolution.
So moved?
All right, so that is moved by Director Herber and seconded by Vice President Kurth. Directors, please vote.
The resolution is approved with Director Rose absent.
All right, so I think we want to, congratulations and thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Director Fish.
All
All right.
right.
We're going to head down there. It's just going to be me and Greg down there.
That's fine, that's fine, I just didn't know.
Can I say something quickly about that?
Do I get to say a few words? Can I say a few words?
Yeah, first, I know you want to say a few words. Does any of the other board members care to pile on to this resolution?
I just want to say that, Director Fishman, you always represent SMUD really well. You have a beautiful voice from your radio days and so forth, and you articulate things very clearly to the public. And I just want to thank you because I know you put a lot of time in this year. Did a lot of presentations. He was out in the community an awful lot. I can't remember how many, but it was like hundreds of events. So I just want to say thank you. Did a great job.
Go ahead, Director Herbert.
Yes, and I would like to say that I really have appreciated the fact that you're a very level, even keel person. You know, I think.
How dare you? No, no.
Boy, you set me up for that. I really do believe that we have had a good year last year because of your ability to keep us united and focused, and so thank you for that.
Okay, Vice President Kurth.
Thank you. Thanks for a great year, Greg. All those meetings that you went to, all those community events you attended, those things are offered first to the president, and I know all of us are really glad you took them all because it's a lot of work getting out in the community, but that's how we get to know and how we serve. And so thank you for doing such a great job. Appreciate it.
Director Bowie Thompson.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. I think that there were some also tough decisions along the way. Sometimes you had to make some calls. You know, everybody's very busy and also want to do a lot of things. So I appreciate that you were always very fair and kept SMUD and our community and constituents in mind when making decisions. And yes, you have a great radio voice, as we love, and also great insight. So appreciate the year of service.
Director Rose.
Thank you, President Tamayo. I'll be brief. I'll certainly echo what my fellow board members have already said. I am just terribly impressed, like your work ethic, the sheer volume and number of events, and how you always spoke so eloquently and represented SMUD in I think, just the best light humanly possible. So I thank you for that year of service.
And I'll just go ahead and say, I really appreciate how well you represent us and how well-spoken you are, but I will note for the record how quickly you handed the gavel over to me at the end of your last meeting. So I understand it's a lot of work, so thank you very much. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, thank you all for those kind words. Thank you to the SMUD staff that makes being president of this organization generally a really positive, fun, and important job. And especially to the board office that helped keep me on track for the year, at least mostly on track. And the times that I might have gotten off track, that's on me. I just thank you to all the rest of the SMUD employees who are here for my proclamation. I really appreciate that. Just briefly, it's an honor to serve this organization, and it's an honor to serve as president of the board. Even though it's really, you're first among equals, there's really not a whole lot of additional authority or power or anything that goes with it. But you're recognized in the community a little bit more, and this organization is a force for good in our community, and being able to represent it out in the public as much as it was truly an honor. And again, thank you to staff for making it easy generally to be out there and to represent this organization. So thank you, everyone.
All right, so now we're going to move on to our committee chair reports. Director Herber, Chair of the Policy Committee, will give the report of the January 14th, 2026 meeting. Director Herber.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Policy Committee met on Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. There was one discussion item and one informational item. As part of the board policy monitoring process, the first discussion item was to allow for the board and staff to review and discuss language for governance process, election of the new board president and vice president, the role of the board president, and board committee chairs. The informational item was a review of the board's work plan. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Herber. Now Director Rose, Chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, will give the report of the January 14th, 2026 meeting.
All right, thank you. So the Finance and Audit Committee met on Wednesday, January 14th. There were 2 discussion items and 3 informational items. The first discussion item was to authorize the CEO and general manager to negotiate and award contracts to Synergy, Sierra Valley Mechanical, and Clark & Rush to provide residential assistance services for a 3-year period from approximately March 1st, 2026 to February 28th, 2029 for a total aggregate not to exceed amount of $40 million. With these contracts, SMUD will provide eligible residential customers with enhanced energy-efficient equipment, electrification, and strategic energy-saving installations that will help them save on their bills. This is item number 7 on the consent calendar. The second discussion item was to authorize the general manager to negotiate and execute a 3-year contract renewal with Wells Fargo Bank to modify and extend a $50 million line of credit, and then a 3-year contract with PNC Bank for a new $100 million line of credit. These actions support our capital improvement program, diversify our liquidity program, and ensure a minimum of 150 days cash on hand is maintained. This will lower costs and allow us to have immediate access to funds. And this is item number 8. On discussion calendar, the first informational item was a summary of SMUD's financial results and power supply costs for the 11th month period ending November 30th, 2025. The second informational item was to provide the board with a presentation about the 2026 internal audit plan and our key focus areas. And the last item, the third item, was an internal audit services report regarding the recommendations for the quarter 4 of 2025. This concludes the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Rose. Excuse me. At this time, we will take comments from the public on the consent calendar, and I don't believe I've received any requests for comment on that. Is that still the case?
Oh, we have not received any physical cards, and I do not see any hands up from our virtual attendees. Let's give it a minute here. So, yeah, there's no public comment on the consent calendar.
Okay, thank you. So we will now move on to a description of the consent calendar. Item number 4 is to approve revised board member compensation for service rendered at the request of the board for the period of November 16th, 2025 through December 11th, 2025. Item number 5 is to approve board member compensation for service rendered at the request of the board for the period of December 12th, 2025 through January 15th, 2026, and technology reimbursement for requests for purchases or repairs. Item number 6 is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of December 11th, 2025. Item number 7 was reviewed at the Finance and Audit Committee of January 14th, 2026. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so that is moved by Director Sanborn and seconded by Director Fishman. Would directors please vote?
The consent calendar is approved with all directors voting yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move to our discussion calendar. Item number 8 is to authorize the CEO to negotiate and execute a 3-year contract renewal with Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., Wells Fargo, to modify and extend a $50 million line of credit, Wells Fargo line, and all other documents or actions necessary to facilitate the Wells Fargo line, and a 3-year contract with PNC Bank, N.A., or PNC, for a new $100 million line of credit, PNC line, and all other documents or actions necessary to facilitate the PNC line. And our presentation is by Jennifer Restivo, our Director of Treasury and Revenue Strategy. Jennifer.
Thank you, President Tamayo. I'm here to, as you said, and you all heard this presentation last night, so I'll give you the abbreviated version. I am Jennifer Restivo, Director of Treasury and Revenue Strategy, and I'm here tonight to ask the board to approve extending and increasing our lines of credit. These are key liquidity tools that give us the flexibility to provide reliable and affordable service to our community. Liquidity means having enough cash on hand to pay our bills when they're due, sort of like keeping enough money in your checking account to pay your bills as they come up. Our liquidity plan is a strategic tool that gives us flexibility to respond fast, keep things running smoothly, and seize opportunities without delay, regardless of what's happening in the environment. So we have 2 main tools for our short-term cash needs, and that's commercial paper and our line of credit. You approved our letter of credit to support the commercial paper program, $400 million last year. And we use the commercial paper for short-term borrowing, and then we lock in interest rates by issuing long-term debt, and we lock in those repayment terms. So by doing that, we're able to spread the cost of the assets that we build over the life of the assets, which helps us with rates and with equity. So that provides us a lot. Having the commercial paper and the line of credit gives us the flexibility to pick the best time to borrow long-term, because right, you have that little bit of flexibility, and manage our capital projects smoothly and not be as concerned about cash flows. Commercial paper is short-term borrowing that we sell to investors. A line of credit is a flexible loan from a bank, so they are different products. Right now, we have the $100 million line of credit with Wells Fargo that expires February. So now we're extending the Wells Fargo line for $50 million and adding the $100 million new line with PNC. And that'll increase our total lines to $150 million. So that helps spread our risk and ensures that we can keep things running smoothly. These lines of credit really protect us if financial markets get shaky, because you may not be able to rely on investors to buy our commercial paper. And if cash flow gets tight, it gives us the ability to still pay our bills. So these are really vital tools that give us flexibility and confidence to handle whatever comes our way and to pay our bills on time. So any questions on that?
Okay, so no questions or comments from the board. I do want to say, because these are tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, just for folks who may be listening in, we've learned more about this and had an opportunity to discuss this more at our committee meeting, and it's not the first time around. So even though these are large amounts, we're just going to go ahead and vote now because we've already had the discussion and answered the questions we needed answered yesterday. So at this point, do we have any requests to comment from the public?
I haven't received any cards, and I do not see any raised hands from our virtual attendees. So no public comment.
All right. So at this point, if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion for the discussion calendar item 8A.
So moved.
Again?
Okay, so that was moved by Director Fishman and seconded by Vice President Kurth. Directors, please vote.
Item 8A is approved with all directors voting yes.
Thank you. All right, so we are now moving on to public comment on items not on the agenda.
President Tamayo, we have another item 8B. There's 2 votes for this one.
Oh, okay, excuse me. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion for discussion calendar item 8B.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so moved by Director Herber and seconded by Director Fishman. Directors, please vote.
Item 8B is approved with all directors voting yes.
All right, thank you. And now, assuming I'm not missing something else, we'll move on to public comment on items not on the agenda. And at this time, we allow the public to comment on items not on the agenda, but within our jurisdictions. And I have received a number of cards for speaking. I'll read the first 3, and if you can get ready, if you're in the list, please get ready. The first speaker is Matthew Rush. The second will be Josh Earhart, and the third will be Pat Gellin. So if you'd please come up to the mic. Please don't move the microphone as it is designed to pick up your voice at a distance. Please remember to direct your comments to the board. If you have written materials you wish to provide to the board, please hand them to SMUD Security to distribute. And also, since your matter has not been placed on the agenda, the board may not engage in an active discussion of the matter and is limited to briefly responding to statements, asking clarifying questions, and directing staff to follow up on the matter. So, Mr. Rush, please proceed. You got 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Rush, and I'm an apprentice lineman with SMUD. I've worked here for 3.5 years, and I'm 6 months away from completing my apprenticeship. I'm proud of the work that I do and the men and women I work beside every single day. I chose this trade because it matters. When storms hit, fires break out, or outages happen in the middle of the night, we are the ones climbing the poles in the dark, in the heat, and in the rain, making sure families have power, businesses stay running, and this community keeps moving. The reality of this job takes a real toll. The hours are long, conditions are dangerous, and the physical demands don't stop just because you're tired or short-staffed. As apprentices, we're trying to learn a highly skilled trade while also keeping up with the rising cost of living and increasing expectations in the field. Our current contract no longer reflects the reality of the work that we're doing today. It doesn't keep pace with the risks, the workload, or the market we're competing in to attract and retain skilled workers. If we want a strong, reliable workforce in the future, we need a contract that shows that this company values the people who keep the lights on. I'm not asking for anything unreasonable, just a fair contract that supports safety, training, retention, and a sustainable career for the next generation of linemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Excuse me, our next speaker is Josh Earhart.
Hello, my name is Josh Earhart, lineman at SMUD, and I'm speaking on behalf of IBW represented employees at SMUD. The ongoing discussions have extended beyond what is typically encountered in standard contract negotiations. It is damaging the foundation of the relationship between SMUD and the workforce that makes this utility function every day. For decades, IBW employees believed that they were part of SMUD, not just employed here, but respected as partners in its mission. That belief is now being eroded. When the employees' compensation whose operate, maintain, restore SMUD system falls behind comparable employee groups within SMUD, it sends a clear and troubling message. Their work is not valued equally. That message is tearing at the fabric, trust, pride, and partnership between IBW and SMUD labor, or SMUD and IBW labor. These are the employees who keep the lights on, who respond in emergencies, and who will be relied upon to deliver SMUD's zero carbon plan. Yet that's not what's happening. SMUD is sending a message to them that they are considered replaceable rather than essential. This has real consequences. Employees no longer feel like they belong at SMUD. Over 400 employees signed an open letter to CEO expressing this concern, which I will leave a copy, or you have it already. Morale is declining. The sense of shared purpose that once defined this organization is breaking down. This is not sustainable. You cannot expect commitment, excellence, and accountability from a workforce that feels marginalized by its own employer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Earhart. Our next speaker is Pat Gellin. Is Pat here?
I am, but I don't think I can talk that louder than so you can hear me. I'm Pat Galen. I live in Gold River, California. Mrs. Thompson, I think you're my rep. I'm here to talk to you because I have an issue that affects my neighborhood quite a bit. We have a night light a street light that has not worked. This April will be the third year that it hasn't worked. And, we need those lights. It's a safety factor for us. Many of us are elders out in that community. And I've gone through quite of trying to find someone to help me. And I thought I read about you on the internet, and I'm coming down to ask you for your help. Maybe you can find out what is stopping this. We finally there was a missing number on it. That was confusing at first, but that's been put on the pole, the standard, and there's no reason that I can see that hasn't been replaced or fixed. I at least get a light in there. I was coming home one night, and down the street from me, on that note that I sent to you, down at the bottom of the page, there are 3: Tail Race, Sawmill, and Hawk Farm. And I'll show you that one. Hawk Farm, I noticed the light was blinking, so I let the person that, as the neighborhood watch, I called the person that lives closest to that light and reminded him that it was blinking. He called, and 3 days later had his light fixed, and I still am sitting there with no light. The next one, this past Monday evening, we had our HO meeting, and the president was going down the agenda, and he called on me for the neighborhood watch report and what's been happening in the neighborhood. I work with the sheriff's department and the highway patrol and the Rancho Cordova Police Department through Rancho Cordova. So, they're very helpful to us. When it was my turn to speak, I said, I have no information on the street light. I'm just really frustrated. 3 years now and still not repaired or replaced. And so a gentleman sitting in the front, he's a new member, moved into our neighborhood about a couple of years ago. He spoke up and he said, well, I don't know why. We just got a new pole and a new light, and it's at the end of my alley. And so I'm just getting skipped over on the street. And if you'll look on there, it's the one that's Tail Race. And if you could do anything to help us, believe me, we would really appreciate it. And if somebody could get back to me, I gave you my phone number and my as much information as I can. I'd like to also say that you have wonderful employees. They have been so kind and so sweet on the phone, men and women. I have their names and their phone numbers, but I won't get into that. But I want you to know that they are good reps for you. They're trying. They're as frustrated as I was, I think, every time they'd say, well, we're putting you on the repair list. Well, dang, I'm getting up in years here. I hope to get that light fixed before I go. So if you could help us, I would really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
I know Gold River is a unique
Thank you.
situation, so we'll have someone reach out to you.
Yeah, thanks for
As I was saying, yeah, Tracy's running over, so
Yeah.
she'll take care of it. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Galen, we've got a staff person to help you out there, so thank you very much for your comment. So, all right, so the next speaker that I have here is Thomas Bernardo. Is he in the room? And then also Sophia Markowski, and then David Wright. So if you're in the overflow room, please make your way over here. So Thomas Bernardo, Sophia Markowska, and David Wright.
We might say a few more, since there's probably a 30-second delay between the overflow room and here.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the next two. So, Mr. Bernardo?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead and get.
Good evening. Tom Bernardo, retired State Park Ranger and retired State Park Superintendent, today representing the California State Park Rangers Association. Our members voted unanimously at our annual membership meeting in Sonora last September to oppose the Coyote Creek Solar Project by Desiree. That letter of opposition detailing our concerns is on file. I have testified at county planning, county board of supervisors meetings in opposition to the project, as well as a recent SMUD meeting. It appears to us that SMUD has suffered a huge hit on its reputation by initially approving the power purchase agreement with Desiree. While SMUD has recently canceled that agreement and should receive credit, it only came after 3 lawsuits were filed, enormous public opposition, 4 years of silence at public meetings, including Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors meetings, and the late revelation that Desiree may not have represented itself with full honesty. 4 years of silence is simply nothing to applaud. So what is next? Sacramento County Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors approved the Coyote Creek project permits on the assumption SMUD's PPA was valid. This is unfortunate, and SMUD is at least partly to blame. California State Parks has been negotiating with Desiree for mitigation for Prairie City SVRA. Agreed upon mitigation now totals $2.66 million. Mitigation is another way to say this project is going to seriously affect the viewshed, the park operation, as well as other factors, and State Parks is trying to get as much money as possible to blunt the damage. It is obvious to me that State Parks also looked at the SMUD PPA and decided, whoa, we better get on board. This project is coming our way, whether we want it or not. My request to you is that SMUD Board of Directors and your staff communicate directly with California State Parks Director Armando Quintero why you have had a sudden, after 4 years of no action, change of direction to cancel the PPA. This is crucial for the state parks that is currently evaluating issuing an easement to Desiree to cross onto state park lands for the tie-in. Without that easement, the project becomes much more difficult and less cost-effective, and maybe even impossible to complete in a timely manner. Word from inside state parks is that the easement is still in draft form, and meetings with Desiree to finalize the agreement have not yet been scheduled, so timing is crucial. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I look forward to the day when I hear that SMUD has contacted State Parks and State Parks has denied the Coyote Creek Solar Project easement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bernardo. Our next speaker is Sophia Markowska, and then David Wright, and after that, Tim Washburn.
Good evening. My name is Sophia Markowska, and I'm a SMUD customer located in Ward 6. These comments are on behalf of Defenders of Wildlife, which is a national nonprofit with more than 2 million members and supporters, 311,000 of which reside in California. Defenders is dedicated to the protection and restoration of imperiled species and their habitats. First, I want to sincerely thank the board for revoking the power purchase agreement for the Coyote Creek Solar Project. We appreciate that your decision explicitly cited environmental concerns, many of which this board has heard about directly from Defenders of Wildlife and our coalition partners over the course of multiple meetings that have spanned several years. We are disappointed, however, that it took SMUD so long to rescind the contract, given that, according to documents uncovered by the Sacramento Bee, SMUD knew that the project proponent needed to change the terms of the contract and wanted more money. If SMUD had rescinded the contract before the Board of Supervisors meeting to approve the project, it is likely that the board may have not moved forward with this approval. In light of some of the concerns raised due to this project, we urge the board's careful consideration of its governance responsibilities. As a governing body, it is important to recognize that the board holds fiduciary responsibility to oversee SMUD's direction and to ensure that major decisions and long-term commitments align with SMUD's adopted policies, Sacramento County's requirements, and sound business judgment. Oversight is a core function and responsibility of the board. Looking ahead, we respectfully request that any proposed changes to a power purchase agreement be considered in a public forum. Further, when future projects present the level of concerns raised by stakeholders and tribes, the board has a responsibility to allow for greater public engagement and to provide greater oversight. Transparency ensures that customers and stakeholders understand what is being proposed and have an opportunity to provide meaningful input before decisions are finalized or to allow for reconsideration of decisions. This transparency ultimately strengthens public trust and results in better outcomes for SMUD and its ratepayers. Finally, Defenders of Wildlife would welcome the opportunity to serve as a resource to the board. We would be happy to walk through, either at a public meeting or in individual briefings, how we screen renewable energy projects for environmental risk and compatibility. We have a responsibility to secure a clean energy future for our region, and Defenders has worked on renewable energy issues across the state for nearly 2 decades. As such, our goal is to help ensure projects are cited appropriately to avoid unnecessary conflict and litigation so that we are making progress on our clean energy goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is David Wright.
Good evening. David Wright. I am reading comments tonight from Sean Worth, who's out of town. He is writing on behalf of ECOS and Habitat 2020. I have a longer version which I'll supply to the board. There appears to be a large reputational fallout from the way that SMUD dealt with the power purchase agreement for the Coyote Creek agrivoltaic project, both in how it was initiated and then in how it was terminated. Signing an agreement for such a project without site visits, ecological and cultural pre-screening, or verification of assertions by the developer regarding environmental and cultural settings violated basic common sense for a utility that prides itself in environmental and cultural sensitivity. Canceling the PPA after growing public pressure, after the Board of Supervisors' approval of the project and the 3 ensuing lawsuits, missed multiple opportunities to effectively address SMUD's role in this controversial project. After years of assertions from SMUD that the PPA could not be terminated, we discovered that it could have been more than a year before the Board of Supervisors hearing, a hearing at which the claim that SMUD needed this project to meet its 2030 goals was key to approval. Had SMUD terminated the PPA when it could have and then appeared at the board meeting and explained how and why the PPA got signed in the first place and why it was terminated, it seems likely that the project would not have been approved and SMUD's mistakes could have been fully rectified. The way that things actually unfolded leaves many feeling a growing lack of confidence in SMUD and in SMUD's processes. What can SMUD do to address this growing lack of confidence? SMUD had already committed to the first crucial change, which is that all third-party projects will now have to be pre-screened for potential environmental and cultural resource concerns. But behind-the-scenes screening with no nexus for public input hardly seems adequate to address the growing lack of confidence. A public workshop or training that elucidates for SMUD board, staff, and customers what goes into an effective pre-screening for environmental and cultural concerns would be a good place to start in assuring customers that robust pre-screening processes are in place. But other important changes that improve transparency and allow for public input are needed. For project approvals for large solar projects, there should be a protocol that allows for public input. Amendments to PPAs or substantial changes to projects should also be brought before the board. Please take this opportunity to more fully engage SMUD with its customers in a way that improves confidence through improved transparency and appropriate protocols to ensure that important concerns are addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I don't have any other cards. Do we have any more? Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. Come on up. I didn't try to exclude you on purpose, Tim. So.
President Tamayo, members of the board, I'm Tim Washburn. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Third Act Sacramento. And like the prior three speakers, I'm going to offer a public comment on the Coyote Creek project. I asked the board to clearly explain SMUD's reason for canceling the Coyote Creek PPA. The termination letter states that the original project and its economics no longer exist, and that the seller misrepresented support from key stakeholders, including the Wilton Rancheria. This language suggests that if the economics were more favorable and tribal support had been secured, the project might still have been acceptable to the board. To restore public trust, the board should make a clear and unequivocal statement that regardless of project economics or stakeholder positions, development of a utility-scale project at Barton Ranch is inconsistent with SMUD's commitment to policy SD7. That policy requires SMUD to operate sustainably by minimizing environmental impacts, respecting tribal and cultural resources, conserving natural resources, enhancing biodiversity, and promoting equity across SMUD's communities. If SMUD makes this statement, it will correct a misunderstanding. Because SMUD did not attend the county board meeting, many people assumed that SMUD agreed with the county's decision. In particular, they believed SMUD also viewed the harm to oak trees, the scenic corridor, and cultural resources as an acceptable trade-off for clean energy. SMUD should clearly state that it does not share this view. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Washburn. Do we have any other cards or any?
I don't have any other cards. There is a comment from a virtual attendee, John.
All right, let's cue up John.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, my name's John Weber. Good evening, Board of Directors, and thank you, Director Fishman, for your excellent meeting management over the last year, or at least all the meetings that I've attended. I really appreciate it. Also, I just wanted to say I attended the meeting last night, and I think I have an additional item that you might consider adding to the parking lot. I attended a meeting, a webinar today that was in New York State regarding nuclear power, and it was brought up that enhanced geothermal is something a lot of people are considering now, because it can go from planning to actually operation within 3 years. It can be sited anywhere and has a very small footprint, smaller than nuclear. And so hopefully you can consider adding that to the parking lot for the next year, and have a good evening. Thank you.
Do we have any other virtual commenters?
No, we do not.
All right, so thank you very much for those public comments. We're now going to move on to our directors' reports. At this point, we provide the directors an opportunity to report on SMUD activity. We'll begin with a report from Director Rose in Ward 1 and continue in ward order with the president's report as the final item.
All right, thank you, President Fishman, and thank you for all of our participants in tonight's meeting. I'll be brief with my report. I've had a series of meetings with our various finance staff and our external auditor as I take over the Finance and Audit Committee as chair. So we've been hard at work on that, looking at some of the reports and brainstorming ways to maybe make them a little clearer and more user-friendly as well. And the only other thing I would add, had the opportunity to get out in the mid-December to our line worker graduation for our pre-apprentice program. And so that would be my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Director Bowie Thompson?
Thank you. I attended various events, but I just wanted to highlight one. I had the honor of being invited to Chartwell's be their keynote speaker at the EV Leadership Council, which convenes some of the largest EV programs in the country, and also that they bring the leaders together to talk about issues, talk about wins, losses of the previous year, and look at the future year. So I was able to present our zero carbon plan and also present our great EV programs that hopefully they can glean some interest and also replicate, because it's always about helping those in our industry that they can also learn from our programs and hope to expand similar ones in their regions.
Thank you. I think I'm up.
Yep, Director Fishman, you're up.
A few things to mention. I was able to represent SMUD and say a few words. They actually presented us with an award, the Iranian American Cultural and Educational Center, at their Yalda Gala. Yalda is a cultural holiday that they celebrate, a midwinter, shortest night of the year kind of celebration. I learned a lot about their culture. Given what's happening in Iran right now, it was especially poignant to be there, although the worst of what's happening in Iran had not begun happening yet. But there is a sizable Iranian population here in Sacramento, and just want them to know that I am personally thinking about them and family and relatives that are going through strife in Iran right now. I also got to speak at SMUD's Line Worker Scholarship Training Program graduation. We have a great cadre of people that went through this program. I forget the numbers, but I want to say something like there was 1,000 applicants. They winnowed it down to 300, then winnowed that back down to about 40, and the cream of the crop went through this program. And it's just something else that we're doing to foster the right kind of folks coming into our line workers program. And then finally, Director Tamayo and I both went to the Japanese American Citizens League 90th Anniversary Awards and Installation Luncheon last week. And again, just to draw a parallel, they're always concerned about the imprisonment of Japanese citizens during World War II. And when we see some of what's happening in our country right now, it is evocative of those times. And it's terribly distressing to see us repeating those same mistakes. So congratulations to the JACL for standing up for civil rights throughout the ages. Thank you.
All right, Director Herber.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to keep mine pretty short tonight. I had the most fun in Elk Grove at the Rise Women in Business Christmas pajama party. What it really was, though, is they spent the evening talking to women entrepreneurs about what they can do to market their products. So very impressed with the women who attended, and they have some great food that they sell. Also wanted to just mention a thank you to Rhonda Staley Brooks and Jose for helping with the Dream It, Be It workshop that I was involved in, basically teenage young women trying to figure out what their careers will be. Woo! Oh, somebody, there we go. Okay. Wow, I thought I had more power than I do, I guess.
Good thing we got some linemen in the room.
Yeah. That's right, keeping the lights on. And then last but not least, I just want to say that the Sacramento History Alliance Board received a proclamation from the City Council, and I'm on that board, and SMUD will be working with the museum on an exhibit about baseball. So that's something to look forward to. And that's mainly it.
All right. Vice President Kurth?
Thank you. So just one item I want to highlight with the holidays and all, and that was attended yesterday along with President Tamayo, the Hispanics in Energy California Energy Summit, where we met with really industry and policymakers and innovators from throughout the California area, really from throughout the nation, to talk about developments in the energy world and where we stand and what the next new items are. I had the privilege of being one of the speakers there, and while we were supposed to talk about technological improvements and things that we were looking forward to in the future, it actually became a discussion on the importance of partnerships, and whether it's community partnerships or industry partnerships, or really it created a concurrence among almost everyone there that in the energy world we don't make progress without all our partners. And so with that, back to you.
All right, Director Sanborn.
Thank you, President Tamayo. Just two things I want to highlight. Also, the Line Worker Scholarship graduation. It's really heartwarming to see smiles like halfway across somebody's face. They were so proud, those graduates, that they were able to get through that program and climb those poles and get their boots and be ready to go out and compete for those incredible positions. And I want to thank our incredible line workers that train the next generation. It is incredible work that is done out in the field, as was said earlier, and so I'm always just thrilled that we're doing the outreach and getting the next generation ready to climb those poles and do the work to keep the power on. And then I did meet with Orville Thomas over at CalSTART, CalEpic, and that is where we're working to really evolve transportation research and development. And I was thrilled to see that we're doing a partnership with Rivian over there. And Rivian is training and paying for young people to get trained in repairing the Rivian vehicles. And they're getting jobs. If they pass the program, they're literally getting placed in jobs all over the country. Some here. For Rivian, it's automatic. So what a wonderful program. And they're outgrowing the space, so it looks like they're going to need more space to train more people and do more good work. And I also saw electric boats. So I was connecting the gentleman who's working on electric boats with folks up in the Tahoe region that I know, and they're working to get electric boats on Lake Tahoe so we can get the oil boats off the lake. So it was a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sanborn. All right, so I'll proceed with my president's report. I also attended the Iranian American Cultural and Educational Center Gala, which was, that was a great event, but subsequent to that, the organizers of the event also operate a radio station that reaches out to the Farsi-speaking community, learn more about all the different programs that they're doing to help people, get settled and really get get on their feet here in this country, including, workforce development, navigating, American bureaucracy, and they put a lot of energy into that. And I'm glad that we're one of their sponsors and help them. They're one of our partners actually in helping deliver information about a number of programs that we have to help our customers. I also attended the Western Service Workers Association Partner Appreciation, and they're very active in my ward and other parts of North Sacramento. And they do a lot of work out in the community, helping people figure out how to solve a lot of people have economic troubles in their households, troubles paying their bills, helping them understand that they can call SMUD and work something out, but also exposing them to a lot of the other programs that can, on an ongoing basis, help them save money on their energy bills. I attended the Line Workers Scholarship graduation, and that's just such a joyful event, and thank you very much to all the young people who persevered through that course, and also to our staff who provided apparently very excellent training, and really the young people seem to really appreciate the effort that our workers put into helping them gain those skills. I also attended the Florin JACL. I would like to add that not only do they call attention to what's happened to the Japanese Americans in the 40s, but also a long history of defending civil rights for all members of our society, and really standing up with everybody whose civil rights are being abused. So I want to thank them for their ongoing dedication to that. And then also I attended the Hispanics in Energy Summit, and like to commend Director Kurth for his panel participation, and then also it was actually really well organized, some really great people there doing good things to really improve the industry, and then improve the access and ability for the industry to not only include people in its workforce and provide economic opportunities, but also to help people in their communities be better represented to the utilities, so the utilities throughout the country serve those populations better. And I think it seemed like a great organization. And finally, I will end with, received a very disappointing call from our CEO, Paul Lau, like I think 2 days into my being president of the board, and he informed me that he intended to retire in 6 months. I actually was kind of, have to say, I was disappointed because I just really value working with you. I value all of your contributions for the entire 45 years, but what I've seen you as CEO, it's been absolutely amazing. I know you're not leaving, we're still stuck with you for another 6 months, but I did inform him that, I don't think the board's going to accept your retirement, so maybe it'll be more than 6 months, but, disappointed, but I also, really a sense of appreciation of how much value and energy and heart and just all your contributions as CEO. So I just wanted to end with thanking you for that. Despite my disappointment, I really owe you a debt of gratitude for everything that you've done. So thank you. I will hand it over to you for your CEO's report. So.
Well, thank you very much, President Tamayo. So thank you to the board for the kind words about my retirement this summer. I really want to thank the board for your support during my time as CEO. It really has been an honor of a lifetime to serve a community as SMUD CEO, and an absolute privilege to have been here for SMUD for almost 45 years. So the board leadership and partnership has been instrumental in helping us achieve so much. As you know, I'm fully committed to stay on until the board select my successor, and I'll be here to support a smooth and successful transition. I'm proud of the work that we do every single day, and I'm confident that SMUD will continue to be a cutting-edge utility that will provide value to our customers, community, day in and day out, and continue to be one of the best utility in the U.S. So for that, I want to say thank you. So now with tonight's commendations, I'd like to thank again, really thank you, outgoing president, President Fishman. Your work for SMUD over the past year has been incredible. I agree with Director Sanborn. I think I see you everywhere in the community. I lost track of how many community meetings you go to, and you speak so eloquently. It represents SMUD so well, but all about all the greatness that actually SMUD stands for the communities. Thank you so much. Now, I also sincerely appreciate how deeply you supported a community and championed the 2030 Clean Energy Vision at dozens of community and industry events. And your commitment and dedication has been tireless, nights and weekends too. I also appreciate your leadership and the support of your mission and staff every day. And we also want to extend a warm welcome to this year's President Dave Tamayo and Vice President, Rob Kurth. And we're thankful for your leadership, for this coming year. Thank you so much. And so finally, tonight's video looks back on SMUD's many accomplishments during 2025. It was a year filled with achievements from our operations to our community, our progress toward our zero carbon goals, and so much more. Now let's take a look.
SMUD is your community-owned electric utility. We're here to make life better for you and everyone in our neighborhoods. In 2025, we didn't just keep the lights on, we lit the way to a cleaner, brighter tomorrow. We were steadfast in our commitment to safety, reliability, and continuing to keep our rates among the lowest in California, all while making big strides toward our ambitious 2030 zero carbon goal. This year, we invested in smart infrastructure upgrades to keep your lights shining bright today while preparing for the needs of tomorrow. Through it all, keeping our customers, employees, and communities safe and healthy remained a top priority. Our journey towards zero carbon accelerated in 2025. We brought new renewable projects online and moved other clean energy projects forward to increase our portfolio of carbon-free energy. By making our existing infrastructure even more efficient, we're boosting reliability and saving millions, helping keep rates low. Environmental leadership also means working with local businesses to help drive down energy use, cut costs, and power smarter operations. It means electrifying homes in under-resourced neighborhoods to improve air quality, lower utility bills, and ease financial stress. And it means offering programs and load flexibility options to support shifting energy usage when it's needed most. When it comes to electric transportation, we're leading by example with a fleet that's more electric than ever. Electric vehicle options and resources from SMUD are putting more customers in the EV driver's seat every year. This year, we focused on meeting customers' needs through outreach, education, and service. With high customer satisfaction ratings, we continued meeting our customers where they're at, connecting hundreds to vital support and building stronger partnerships across the Sacramento region. Our employees opened their hearts, generously giving their time and dollars to help those who need it most. We stood with local businesses and nonprofits, demonstrating that economic success and community well-being go hand in hand. Our marketing and outreach work expanded into even more languages, helping to bring more people closer to programs and services aimed at making their lives easier, simpler, and more connected. We also showed up in classrooms, workplaces, and communities to ensure that everyone can benefit from the clean energy transition. Keeping energy affordable matters more than ever. We continued to keep our rates among the lowest in California. Today, our rates are 50% lower than our neighboring investor-owned utility, which kept $1.9 billion in our customers' pockets in 2025 alone. Our financial health remains strong, and we continued to secure funding, focus on operational excellence savings, and develop innovative solutions to offset costs and accelerate key projects. We're proud to be a workplace that values employees and supports opportunities for everyone to shine. Across SMUD, employees came together to build stronger relationships, foster understanding, and deepen connections. Through partnering with dozens of community groups, we supported the workforce of the future, and helped place people into sustainable career pathways. SMUD is embracing the power of AI and emerging technologies, equipping our employees with smarter tools, faster insights, and the innovation needed to thrive amid rapidly changing technology. In 2025, we made great strides toward a carbon-free future, cutting emissions while delivering safe, reliable, and affordable energy. For more than 75 years, we focused on one thing: delivering real value for the people we serve every day.
And that concludes my report. And back to you, President Tamayo.
All right, so Chief Legal Officer, do we have any summary to note for the record?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you. And have we received any requests to speak on the closed session item?
No, we have not.
All right. So the board will now enter into closed session to discuss the recruitment process for our new CEO pursuant to Section 54957B1 of the Government Code. So thank you all very much for attending tonight, and have a good evening. So.